How can a judge, in the face of the law and the constitutional principle of presumption of innocence, set bail conditions for one accused person to the tune of 800 million Ghana cedis? To the tune of 800 million Ghana cedis, which is even more double the amount the state spent in the construction of Jubilee House. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Just as the Director of Communication indicated to you, the main reasons why we have summoned you here or invited you here is to discuss several activities that have gone on in our party and activities that are upcoming. But we cannot just organize a press conference and talk about our internal issues without making reference to national issues. You recall that the new Patriotic Party had to cause a complaint against government-sponsored harassment and persecution of our members. The party held demonstration and numerous press conferences on the matter, reminding President John Mahama and his government that we are a nation of rule of law, and asked the NDC government to put a stop on their continuous weaponization of the state security and the judiciary against political opponents. Unfortunately, all our calls are falling on deaf ears, but as a party, we shall not back down on our resolve to fight this injustice. It is increasingly concerning that the state security agencies continue to flout with impunity the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 14, on the grant of bail to persons arrested or detained. Our Constitution requires that persons who are arrested or detained be brought to the court within 48 hours or be released either unconditionally or on reasonable conditions as may be necessary to ensure that they appear at a later date for their trial. Thus, an accused person who is not tried within reasonable time is entitled to bail, irrespective of the nature of the alleged offense. However, friends from the media, you will agree with me that in recent times, certain developments certainly suggest the worrying trend where members of the new Patriotic Party are detained beyond the lawful limit, subjected to unreasonable bail conditions, and effectively denied justice. This practice contravenes Section 96 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 30, 1960, and the Supreme Court precedents, including one in Oko versus Republic and Matipegu versus Attorney General No. 2, which affirmed that bail should not be punitive or withheld merely as a punishment, and that bail condition must not be unreasonable or onerous so as to amount to a constructive refusal to grant it. This is anchored on the constitutional principle enshrined in Article 19(2)(c) that a person accused of committing an offense shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty. However, under President John Mahama's administration, a person is rather presumed guilty until the person proves his innocence. And this is a shame to our democracy, whereby that the presumption of innocence has now turned into whereby a person is presumed guilty for him or her to prove his or her innocence. We have seen how this government has conducted itself in the Rambo-style arrest and detention of members of the new Patriotic Party. Reference to Chairman Untumi, Edubuaye, Abdul Wahab Hanan, Ifdowari, Osesibe, and a host of others. Even more troubling is the perception that the judiciary has been compromised, particularly following the unlawful removal of our Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Araba Tokonu. The new Patriotic Party believe that this has created an atmosphere of fear among judges and undermined judicial independence. For instance, how can a judge, in the face of the law and the constitutional principle of presumption of innocence, set bail conditions for one accused person to the tune of 800 million Ghana cedis? To the tune of 800 million Ghana cedis, which is even more double the amount the state spent in the construction of Jubilee House. Double the construction of Jubilee House, 800 million Ghana cedis. This is indeed very ridiculous. Doesn't this effectively amount to denial of bail, which the law speaks against? Judges generally, and under His Excellency John Mahama administration, fear to dispense justice according to the law, because they fear that they may also suffer the same fate as Justice Tokonu. Judges are now telling us that we are not equal before the law, and are even quoting dictators like Idi Amin of Uganda to justify the unlawful detentions of citizens in our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, even more worrying is that today we have an Attorney General and Minister of Justice, the person of Honorable Dominic Ayini, who has turned himself into a court of competent jurisdiction and pronouncing accused person guilty even before he takes them to court, or when their matter is pending before the court. He holds media trial, makes prejudicial statements, violating his oath of office and legal professions rules, which govern the conduct of all lawyers, and nobody is able to call him to order, not even the judiciary. It is a shame for our democracy. You have a minister, a lawyer, who knows better that before a person is accused, arraigned before a court, trial done, judgment passed, there's what we refer to as presumption of innocence. But Attorney General would rather prefer to go to the media and pronounce an accused person guilty. We have a young gentleman referred to as lawyer Kosibo Jr., who made some statements, and a sitting judge could go ahead and threaten him that if he makes any further statement in the media, he will cite this young lawyer for contempt of court. But however, we have lawyer Dominic Ayini, who makes prejudicial statements, and yet our judges have not commented on this. And indeed, the animal farm is working under His Excellency John Mahama's administration. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice appears to only be good at filing only political to free his political cronies and NDC members who are standing trial for allegedly stealing huge sums of money from the state. The Attorney General has, in the past 8 months, entered non-political in not less than 10 cases, resulting in the nation losing millions of dollars of allegedly stolen monies by cronies of the NDC or members of the NDC. But however, it is very interesting that the Attorney General can find non-political to free members of his party and cronies who were standing trial under the elsewhere administration, but rather is interested in prosecuting members of the new Patriotic Party. In fact, if the Attorney General means well for this country, certainly you have allowed the cases that were before court of NDC members to have proceeded without filing non-prosecutor. Indeed, this is totally political witch hunt and persecution. It is also worth noting that His Excellency John Mahama administration has become extremely intolerant of dissent and is bent on using state institutions to clamp down on all critical voices in the country. We are witnessing a gradual return to the era of culture of silence. The police, under His Excellency Mahama administration, are more interested in arresting and persecuting social media activists such as Facebookers and TikTokers for allegedly insulting public officials or posting disparaging remarks about government officials rather than fighting security in our country. This level of selective justice and intolerance for dissent is eroding public confidence in Ghana's democracy and judicial system. The resurgence of culture of silence, where citizens are targeted for expressing dissenting opinions on social media, is a dangerous reversal of our democratic gains. If we take away these media trials going on, let's turn our attention to Galamsey. We have a government which came into power on the strength of coming to fight Galamsey, which to them, the NPP administration failed to tackle. You will recall that during His Excellency Mahama's administration, we reached out to our friends, then opposition party NDC, that let us sit together as one people. Let's have a clearly defined roadmap devoid of politics to fight this Galamsey menace. In the words of the NDC, they said they are not in government. It is we, the NPP, who were voted for. And we have the state security, we have the state institutions to fight Galamsey. And we should fight Galamsey. And they have no role to play. The table has turned. The NDC is in government now. They have state security, they have state institutions, they have overwhelming support, even from the judiciary. But what is the state of Galamsey in our country now? And any reasonable person in this country will know that the state of Galamsey is even worse than it was in the NPP administration. And it is clear that Galamsey has become worse under this administration because we have members of parliament who belong to the NDC. We have national officers from the NDC through to the region, the constituencies, and even their branch who are involved in Galamsey. And it's not surprising that the security agencies are struggling to deal with that issue, because when they make efforts, they are threatened by powers that be in this government. But for us as a new Patriotic Party, because we care so much about this country and we mean well for this country, our doors are always open. If His Excellency President John Mahama sees the need and the wisdom to reach out to us, for us to have a proper roundtable discussion to combat this menace once and for all, the new Patriotic Party will gladly welcome such an invitation for us to address the issue of Galamsey. But from the way of things are going, it is clear that His Excellency John Mahama has failed in the fight against Galamsey. Council and the party. And indeed, we communicated to our members that the party has received the report, but we are not going to make the report public. But however, the findings, the recommendations that are captured in the report is something the party will take it up and work on it. Based on that, there are several activities that has happened, and I need to bring our members and the public up to speed with the things and steps that have been taken after the review committee. Because the party is very sad and disappointed in the manner in which we lost the elections, we couldn't have waited. We didn't have the luxury of time to crawl or to take one step after the other, but to run, to make sure that in record time we pick ourselves up, put our house in order, and prepare ourselves for the elections in 2028. And for the first time under this Fourth Republic, the party decided to do something that we have never done before. That is to elect our presidential candidate first before we do other internal elections. And there was a good reason or reasons why the party decided to embark on that journey. And I'm happy with time. Our members and the general public are beginning to realize the wisdom in the decision that was taken by the National Council. And come January 31, the party will go to Congress or conference to elect our presidential candidate. Indeed, towards ensuring a free, fair, and transparent presidential primaries, the party, through National Council, constituted what we refer to as the Presidential Elections Committee, chaired by Honorable Joseph Osewusu. And in close collaboration with the National Secretariat, we have concluded a very landmark and important exercise, all geared towards ensuring a free, fair, and transparent presidential primary by organizing what we refer to as election verification exercise. The essence of the verification exercise indeed is to ensure that we have credible register for the January 31st elections. Because as you are aware, in most times election disputes emanate from register. So once we are able to address the issue of register, then we are sure of having a credible elections. So the party, in ensuring that we have a free, fair, and credible election, sent teams made up of national officers, informal officers, and members of the elections committee to go around the country to meet with regional and constituency party and also with our external branch to look at what we refer to as our album that will be used for the elections, to see where there are issues, to resolve those issues. And for the first time, even though this should have been an internal exercise by the party structures, we invited the aspirants for the presidential elections to send their reps to witness this exercise and also to make an input. So we are very certain that the way and manner that the exercise was conducted, we are surely going to have a free, fair, and transparent election come January 31st, 2026. And come this Thursday, I'm told the Presidential Elections Committee will have their own press conference and they will throw more light on what I've spoken about. Again, the National Council also constituted a committee that referred to as the Amnesty Committee. The Amnesty Committee has been set up by the National Party, i.e. the National Council, so that at least in the spirit of reconciliation, in the spirit of bringing all our members together, the Amnesty Committee is to look at all issues that will come before the committee to make sure that we facilitate the process of granting amnesty to our members. And we know when the verification committee went round, there were several issues that came up. Issues of suspension, issue of forfeiture of membership, and issue of disqualification, all those issues came up. And we have received the report. And the report shall be given to the Amnesty Committee to look at it and advise the party. I'll use this platform to mention the members of the Amnesty Committee to our friends from the media, so that our members will also note those who are members of the Amnesty Committee, for them to reach out to them. The chairman for the Amnesty Committee is Honorable Edge, Member of Parliament for Asante Achin Central. We also have Mr. Peter McMenu, former national chairman of our party, as a member. Mr. Divan Abuhum, our Greater Accra Regional Chairman, as member. We have Deputy Director of Communication, Rabi Salifu, as member, and our Director of Research, Enes Kumi, as member of the Amnesty Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, the party understands the period we find ourselves in, that indeed there is a contest on who becomes the flag bearer of our party. And whenever there is a contest, the tensions are always high. And it's possible, and certainly, people will make certain utterances which mar or distract the peaceful coexistence that exists in our party. And as and when these issues comes up, the party takes the necessary step and refer it to the necessary disciplinary bodies. The party has also received a petition from some concerned members regarding Honorable Koku Asante Boatin, Member of Parliament for Asante Achin South, on alleged remarks and some actions attributed to him which we find both unfortunate and inconsistent with the core values of the new Patriotic Party. And therefore, those petitions have been referred to the disciplinary committee. Again, as we are planning for the presidential primaries, that will not be the end of our internal elections. So as a party, we need also prepare for future elections that will come after the presidential elections also. And as part of our strategy to reorganize our party and put ourselves in the pole position to recapture power in 2028, several activities are going to happen. And I want to use this medium to communicate to our members, our sympathizers, officers of the party, of these steps that we are undertaking as a party. I will start with us making reference to our constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that not long ago the party constituted an amendment committee chaired by our chairman for Constitutional and Legal Affairs, Lawyer Frank Davis, to receive several proposals. And after the receipt of those proposals, the party organized National Delegates Conference to approve the various proposals or motions that were put before the party. And indeed, I'm happy to say that their work has officially or finally come to an end, with them submitting the new amended constitution to the party, and I have a copy in my hand. So that is the new amended constitution of the new Patriotic Party. And in the coming days, we will make it available to our members. One of the key highlights of this amended constitution is to address a long-standing issue or a long-standing misrepresentation of falsehoods that has been peddled against the NPP, and not just even the NPP, even our forefathers. People have always said that the new Patriotic Party and even our forefathers from the UGCC to GCP to UP to PP to PFP, NPP have always struggled to withstand the propaganda, the falsehoods, the misrepresentation, the distortion by our political opponents. And this has always been that as a party, we have always and only focused on governance and our principles. But we feel that the time has come that we should not allow our opponents to continue to spew lies and propaganda against our party without having a strong rebuttal force to defend the party. And in this constitution, that issue that has pertained even in pre-independent, post-independent, and even the Fourth Republic has been addressed in our constitution. And I can assure you, going to the 2028 elections, the NPP is going to have a strong, vibrant communication outfit that will withstand any propaganda from our opponents. Our members get their membership cards. And I'm happy to announce to you that starting next week, we are continuing with the issuing of membership card to our members. And the processes shall be that one, anyone who wants to register for party membership and ID card can visit our website, which is www.newpatrioticparty.org to download our membership registration form. If you are unable to download the form online, individuals can get a printed copy from any constituency, region, or national party. The completed forms should be submitted at the polling station meetings for delivery to the constituency office, or those who cannot submit their forms at the polling station meetings can submit them at the constituency, regional, or national office. Vendors have been assigned to the various regions and constituencies to print the membership card for those who complete their registration in line with Article 3 of the party's constitution. And I use this means to entreat all our members to take this exercise very serious and take part in the activity. I will end my point with respect to our internal organization by again making reference to our constitution, Article 3(4)(b)(7), which talks about disqualification of a member. As a party, we don't want to get to a point whereby we are holding polling station elections, electoral area elections, constituency elections, regional, national, or external branch elections, whereby people may be disqualified based on the article that talks about members of good standing. And to address that issue, it is important that as members of our party, you are supposed to pay your dues. It is only when you have paid your dues that you can take part in our internal elections and also stand to be voted for as an executive of our party. And this provision will be strictly enforced to make sure that every member of our party is of good standing if we intend to vote in our internal elections or to contest for a position in our party. I will due course invite the National Treasurer to run us through on how a member can pay his or her dues so that that member becomes a member of good standing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll end by reiterating the point that as a political party, we know what we have to do to win elections in 2028. And no one should feel disheartened, and no one should feel that the party cannot come back to power in 2028. I can assure you, if the steps that has been taken by the National Party for the first time organizing the presidential primaries as early as possible, to be followed by